tonight's news edition. The Prime Minister says foreign currency reserves doubled this year and vows a tough line against corruption. UN High Commissioner for Refugees calls on international community to help prevent displaced Syrian refugee children from becoming a lost generation. And in Egypt, supporters of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi protest against new restrictions adopted by the government on their right to demonstrate. Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Prime Minister Abdullah Mansour said foreign currency reserves doubled this year thanks to the policies adopted by the Central Bank of Jordan. He told Jordan Television's 60 Minutes program that the economic situation is better this year than last year, when the budget deficit was extremely hard. He said Jordan has received foreign aid, especially from the United States, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. He also said more independent institutions are no longer affiliated with the ministries and are beyond their jurisdiction. Mansour added that there was corruption in the past, but under the government there are no rumors about corruption, and vowed to refer any graft case to the Anti-Corruption Commission and the judiciary. The High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres, called on the international community to help provide enough resources to ensure that displaced Syrian children don't become a lost generation. Speaking at Al-Zaatri refugee camp, Guterres emphasized the need to provide schools, which, along with hospitals, are overcrowded. He added that they are also unable to provide the support much needed by children traumatized by the conflict in Syria. Guterres called on the international community to step in and provide more help, especially for the children.
We have child labor, we have early marriages, we have many serious protection problems that need to be addressed, and unfortunately we do not have enough resources and enough capacity to deal with them. Massive solidarity of the international community with this generation of Syrian children is a must.
In Egypt, supporters of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi protested against new restrictions adopted by the government on the right to demonstrate. Riot police fired tear gas to disperse a crowd outside Al Qubba Palace in Cairo, as well as the nearby province of Gaza. In Alexandria, thousands protested over the severe prison sentence handed down to female protesters. And hundreds of mourners gathered at the Sayyida Nafisa Mosque in Old Cairo to march in a funeral procession of a Cairo University student. Dozens of Palestinian youth clashed with Israeli troops on Qalandiya checkpoint and in the city of Hebron in the occupied West Bank. The clashes followed the funeral of a 24-year-old protester who died from injuries received during similar clashes several weeks ago. Israeli border police said they entered the camp near Jerusalem to arrest the man and were confronted by the crowd. The youth threw stones and burned tires during the clashes, while the Israeli army fired rubber bullets and tear gas canisters. Police discovered the bodies of 18 men who had been abducted and shot in the head in Mashhad, north of Baghdad. They also discovered decapitated corpses of 7 men killed in a separate attack in northern Iraq. A senior police source blamed Al-Qaeda. Earlier, 5 civilians were killed and more than 50 people wounded when a string of car bombs went off in southern Iraq. 5 car bomb blasts, mostly targeting popular markets, including a restaurant in Hilla city south of Baghdad, killed 2 civilians and wounded more than 34. Another 2 car bombs hit markets in Wasit province, southeast of Baghdad, wounding 15 civilians. Meanwhile, a bomb in a parked car went off in a popular market north of the holy city of Najaf, south of Baghdad, killing 3 civilians and wounding 4 others. No group has claimed responsibility for the attacks. Tehran's envoy to the UN Atomic Agency, Reza Najafi, said the implementation of a landmark nuclear agreement between Iran and the 6 world powers is expected to begin in late December or early January. Under the November 24th interim accord, Iran will curb its nuclear program in exchange for limited sanctions relief. The deal between Iran and the United States, France, Germany, Britain, China, and Russia is designed to halt any further advances in Iran's nuclear campaign and to buy time for negotiations on a final settlement.
We need first to have a meeting for coordination, and as soon as we agree on a date, we will start implementing the measures agreed by Iran in the framework of the Joint Plan of Action.
A suicide bomber wounded prominent anti-Taliban Afghan legislator Hamidullah Tohi and his bodyguards when he detonated his device inside Tohi's house. It was not immediately clear who was behind the attack, which came as President Hamid Karzai deliberates over an agreement allowing NATO forces to stay in the country beyond 2014. China dismissed criticism from the European Union against its new air defense zone over the East China Sea and defended sending fighter jets to the zone on a patrol mission. Top diplomat Catherine Ashton said the EU is concerned about China's decision, as well as its announcement of emergency defense measures if other parties do not comply. China objected to Ashton's remarks, calling it irrational, while pointing out that some European countries have air defense zones of their own. It also added it would set up other similar air defense zones when preparations are finalized, but gave no further details. Thousands lined the streets of New York yesterday to greet Snoopy, Spider-Man, and other much-loved giant balloons at the 87th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Mother Nature gave the city a break with winds just below the level that would have grounded the balloons, some as high as 4-story buildings. The parade, which typically draws 3.5 million spectators and 50 million television viewers, also featured floats, marching bands, and dancers. In true American tradition, the heavy Thanksgiving turkey dinner is followed by even heavier spending. Black Friday shopping all across the U.S. heard the cha-ching of cash registers and the swiping of credit cards as shoppers swarmed popular retail stores all across the nation. We get more in this report.
They just couldn't wait for Black Friday. Thousands of customers swarmed into Macy's and other stores on Thanksgiving Day, getting a one-day jump start on bargain hunting from the traditional Friday. Macy's CEO said on CNBC that the frigid weather drove many customers to snap up coats. Electronics was most popular at Walmart. It sold 2 million TVs and nearly 1.5 million tablets. Early shoppers at Best Buy got tickets entitling them to buy big discounted items. Traffic was heavy online. Thanksgiving sales at retailers tracked by IBM rose 19.7% over last year. But shoppers overall appeared cautious, buying only 1 or 2 items instead of stuffing themselves like turkeys with a cartload of bargains. ShopperTrack predicts U.S. sales at stores will rise just 2.4% this holiday season, much slower than in recent years. With 6 fewer shopping days, this holiday season is expected to be particularly fierce. So retailers like Macy's, Kohl's, and JCPenney opened on Thanksgiving for the first time. It's a crucial time because retailers make up 1/5 of all sales during the holidays.
A Chinese inventor sacrificed his livelihood to build an interactive humanoid robot out of scrap. The robot was so large it could not leave his tiny Beijing home. The 38-year-old has been slowly making his dream come true piece by piece from second-hand electrical equipment. The fruit of his effort is a 2.1 meter tall and 150 kilogram interactive robot, which now dominates the single room of his tiny apartment. The robot can move its limbs, hands, and head and follow moving objects with its eyes using some 30 sensors dotted over its body. It took the inventor over 11 months to complete and cost him about $50,000 US. seems like Brazil has been dealing with one disaster after the next while trying to get ready for the 2014 World Cup. An amateur footage captured shocking images showing the moment a massive crane came toppling down at São Paulo's World Cup stadium, killing 2 people. The footage was shot by an architect who said he happened to be filming at the construction site just seconds before the deadly accident. The disturbing video catches the moment the crane pitches to the side and comes crashing down, damaging the stadium and coming down near where construction workers were at work. Workers have been scrambling to meet a December deadline to complete the stadium set by FIFA. And finally, cold and windy tonight across the highlands and the Badia region, and chilly across the country. Temperatures are expected to drop tomorrow, therefore it will be cool with low clouds and northeasterly to southeasterly moderate to brisk winds. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect mild weather tomorrow with northerly brisk winds and choppy seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. To end the news, here's a reminder of our top stories. The Prime Minister says foreign currency reserves doubled this year and vows a tough line against corruption. UN High Commissioner for Refugees calls on international community to help prevent displaced Syrians from becoming a lost generation. And in Egypt, supporters of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi protest against new restrictions adopted by the government on their right to demonstrate. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Nancy Khair. Thank you for watching and have a good night.